Welcome to Technical Insights, today featuring VM-ESA.
What is the operating system with over 21,000 customers worldwide, with a user community of over 9 million people, who are generally blissfully unaware that they're even using it? We've just described VM. Let's look at two customers describe what they're doing with it today, and they won't even use the word.
From the island of Kourou in French Guiana, a communications satellite is being launched late in 1991 by the European Space Agency Arianespace. The satellite is Anik E1, owned by Telesat Canada.
From the CPU point of view, we are running an ES9000 9121 Model 260. We are running ESA 1.0. Predominantly, the means of getting in is through Macs, Apple Macintosh computers. Our workhorses are IBM. Our response times, for the most part, have been excellent. They've far surpassed what we had hoped for in a lot of cases. And that kind of response is what, I mean, obviously it sells what our business is being in the telecommunication satellite industry, but it also speaks very loudly to the IBM system and SQLDS.
A shuttle launch from the Kennedy Space Center is, of course, a prime-time media event, and to television viewers, a marvel of technological and engineering achievement. But just getting the shuttle to the launch pad, the whole process of refurbishing it from a previous launch and readying it for the next one is a major accomplishment in its own right. Shuttle processing, as it's called, is the responsibility of over 6,000 Lockheed employees at the Space Center in Florida. It's an exercise that involves doing and tracking a huge volume of work.
It is a very detailed, intensive exercise. As a matter of fact, we have about 800,000 pages of work instructions that describe the technical process of that readying of the vehicle. Our primary objective is to improve getting the work instructions to the floor and to make sure that when we put a task out on the floor, that the resources required to perform the task are ready, that the technician can get to work, that the inspectors know what work they have to perform, and that the work actually gets in process on schedule. Obviously, shuttle launch schedules are visible worldwide, so the information system needs to be able to support that capability. Because the shuttle is manned when it's launched, safety is an overriding consideration. Certainly, we'd like to improve the efficiency of the processing, shorten the time that's required to do the processing, but we can never compromise safety in that effort.
More than 500 end users throughout the Space Center use SQLDS applications to do their work, manage resources and schedules at their workstations. It puts special demand on Lockheed's application developers.
And we're also using IBM's cross-system product, or CSP, for application development. And that's a new technology that's heavily oriented towards very rapid screen development, very rapid application development. So the faster we can make the development process go, the better we can discover any errors that we make and correct them and get the application out where it's useful.
Not only is there a requirement to get applications up fast, there is a need to get more end users aboard, above the current 500.
What it's given me the ability to do is provide more data, okay, because now I have increased capacity because I'm using a workstation. What that means is I will be able to support well above 500. We're expecting growth approaching to 7,000.
There are great pressures on cost throughout government, throughout all of the government contracts. That's widely known. Our job is to make sure that we can get the best bang for the buck for the taxpayer's dollar. And so the information systems are a crucial element of that.
As I viewed the information that Telesat and Lockheed really conveyed when they talked about a system, I view that as a system means we have the mainframe, we have the licensed products that are supported on that mainframe, we have printers, we have terminals, we have all the hardware that flows together along with the software, which are the licensed programs, along with a mainframe operating system, which in this case was VM-ESA. We've incorporated many new capabilities for VM-ESA with our Release 2 that we just announced this past week and coming available in December of this year. A few of the things that are in there is the new service tool additions. These service tool additions do a lot of things for the customer. They give him a lot of recording capability to understand what problems or what service has been applied to their system. They make it easier to apply the service. And it also is a tool which opens up now an interface for the licensed products that generally run with the VM-ESA operating system to use the same tool. In the past, we've had different ways of applying service, and this tool and the interface to it now really extends that to these other products so that a customer can realize a one maintenance service type of mentality in the future. Also, we have a few tools that deal with the capability of actually bringing the system on board. What is the configuration of your system today? How can you manage that in a simpler way? We call this hardware configuration definition, or we might even look at some of the new system configuration abilities to change on the fly without actually having to do an IPL. These are things that are important to a customer because they give them less downtime, less planned outages. Tomorrow in VM-ESA Release 2 environment and further on, we extend that capability, not having to take the users offline in order to add things into the system. So you can add new users, you can add, for example, a time zone change. Many times across the nations, you have a different time zone. In the past, you actually had to do an initial programming load, bring the system down, and then bring it up again to change a time. Now we have commands in Release 2 to be able to do that type of thing without even bothering the users at all.
What struck me was Telesat's comment on the utilization of data spaces. Data spaces was the foundation for the VM-ESA Release 1. The benefits they'll get from is quite frankly performance. We've shown that by the utilization of data spaces, you can increase performance up to 50%, and they're going to realize that right off the bat.
Whether you're in the old platforms or you're in VM-ESA, Release 2 is going to bring forward some data management capabilities that I think are very exciting. And in VM, we call it DF-SMS/VM. And in the past, that capability was pretty much a data mover type of capability. So if you had a new DASD that you were thinking of bringing online, this capability helped you move your old data to that new DASD. We're extending that systems managed storage concept now to where a customer can do policy management of the data that he has. But what this does is each installation now has the capability to state when and what is their policy for when they want to back up data, how frequently do they want to do it, if they have different types of data out there on different types of DASD, some DASDs very fast, some's kind of slow, how frequently do they access the data, what is the most economical usage of that speed, the quantity, and all that. They can set those policies, and DF-SMS/VM that'll be with the Release 2 package will be able to handle that policy set and do it automatically for the customer.
A large Midwestern hospital, St. Elizabeth's in Lincoln, Nebraska, uses VM to run VSE guests and for client-server computing.
We have 4 critical areas that we're using VM today. And our first area is the programmer use of submission of jobs, source, editing, JCL submission of jobs to VSE. Second area is our LandRes product.
I would say LandRes it's a tool that will provide data processing departments a benefit that gives you the benefit of both worlds, the PC environment and the mainframe environment, and a tool that ties those two mechanical devices together in such a means that it provides you with existing tools in your own institution the means to be able to gain access to information over both applications, the PC environment and the mainframe environment.
Without VM, we wouldn't be able to run LandRes VM, where we have the connection from the host down to the LAN level and the local PC level. Third area is multiple guest VSEs, and a lot of shops do that, and we find it to be a great tool today. We have a main production VSE, and a test VSE. And our fourth area, major area, would be to use VM. It's a master-slave relationship. The two VSEs are sharing DASD, they're sharing print queues, they're sharing hardware, and the VM is the governor between these two machines, so we can spread out the work between both machines. Without VM, we would not be able to do that. I mean, it does more than just the four, but without VM, we wouldn't be able to do our land rest function. Without it, we can't run our guests in our master-slave relationship. Our productivity with programmers couldn't be done, and submission of jobs to VSE, and multiple guests.
People rarely think of IBM as a customer. In fact, as a manufacturer, IBM has the same needs as any other customer, holding costs down and keeping people productive. Let's look at how IBM is using some of its own new software and technology to provide solutions. This application is using a product called Workstation LAN File Server VM to bring mainframe data to a workstation user. It uses new multimedia technology, including photos and full-motion video, to give technicians fast access to the information they need, wherever and whenever they need it. As a technician, I need to know how to remove and replace a TCM. I bring up written instructions on my workstation. Instead of reading the instructions, I'll move my mouse to this button, click, and watch a more experienced technician show me how it's done.
The screws on the TCM handle are screwed into two of the holes to which the cold plate was attached.
There's some text buried here that I want to read, so I'll pause the video and move it out of the way. Then I'll resume the video.
Use the torque tool to loosen the four captive TCM retaining screws completely. The TCM remains mechanically locked onto the board by two pins on the pin side of the TCM and the three retaining clips.
Instead of paging through this maintenance manual or trying to find an expert, I brought an expert to my workstation screen. And remember, the data I just reviewed all resides on the mainframe. We heard several customers today describe how they're using VM, how they're running mission-critical applications on their mainframe in some cases, in other cases where they're using client-server capabilities to combine the strength of the mainframe with the productivity and flexibility of the workstation. Those customers across the board came across as very happy. Is that unique?
No, I really don't think it is, Joyce. We've had lots of customer information coming back to us via surveys that we run on a quarterly basis. And the survey information for VM-ESA is coming back just great from our concern. For example, the overall satisfaction rate that customers have been conveying is 95% satisfied.
Is that much higher than usual? How would you compare that to the past?
Our comparisons would show that that is about 25% higher than the satisfaction rate we had on our previous VM-ESA, SP, and HPO basis. So that is a significant step and a good testimonial coming back from our customers that we are on the right track and we're providing what they need.
Directa, you're part of the programming laboratory in Endicott, but I believe you're also an end user. What is your perception as an end user of the products that you're building?
Well, as a matter of fact, Joyce, just last weekend we installed Release 2 of our ESA product on the system for all the users, and we've been surprised and thrilled at how well it's performed. And the reason I say surprised is because we're still 6 months before the GA of this product, and right at the beginning of our test cycle, as a matter of fact, and we have not had an unplanned outage since it was installed. The performance is very good, and we're very pleased. And in fact, I heard one developer say that he didn't even realize we had gone to a new system until he saw the new logo and noticed that it was ESA 2.
Ron, you talked earlier in the day about quality. How do we measure, how do we quantify quality to know that we're making progress in that area?
Well, let me go back to defects again, although clearly defect is not the only measure of quality. It is one that we get a lot of feedback from our customers through APARs and through problem calls, which we measure, we track, we report on. It seems like hourly, but actually it's a monthly measure that we use. When we build a release, at the very beginning, we project the quality of that release and the number of APARs we expect that release to have as it's in the field during the life of the product, and then we track against that. For ESA 1.0 and 1.1 and now for 2.0, those quality goals have been very, very aggressive. We talk about raising the bar for pole vaulters as far as the quality bar is concerned. We're tracking against those goals on 1.0, 1.1. We're not only meeting those goals, we're exceeding them.
We've talked about the system. What is the system that we're trying to describe? Is it just the control program and the VM operating system?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's VM-ESA, obviously, but it's all the licensed products that runs on the system. It's really all the applications that our customers write, and that's all part of the systems. And we're trying to expand the way we look at, quote, the system, the way we install new products, and try to get the LPs part of that.
So if we achieve our objective of making the system never go down and making certainly the core system, the operating system, never go down and stay reliable and available, the customers can focus on their applications, which is what is, in fact, running their business.
And we're looking at things like first failure data capture techniques, not just for ESA, because we expect not to have problems, but for our customers' applications so they can resolve their problems quicker and get up and running.
Direcsa, Dave pointed to a 95% satisfaction rating, and Ron pointed to meeting very aggressive goals in terms of the numbers of defects. Is that enough?
No, it isn't. And we aren't going to be satisfied until our customers are 100% satisfied. And we're really going for no defects and no unplanned outages. We want our systems to be totally reliable for our customers, and that will, we don't want anything to impact their business.
There you have it. You've seen examples of how VM is being used today. You've heard ideas, thoughts, and perceptions from a customer point of view, an IBM point of view, and a system point of view, combining hardware and software technology, merging the strength of the mainframe with the versatility of the workstation, providing business solutions with VM-ESA.